All right, welcome back. So, as you can see from the board right here, we are about to learn the main components of what it's going to take in order to sell with sales funnels. Now, the most important part that you need to understand is going to be the target market. The reason for that is because in order for you to sell well, in order for your offer to resonate with the person it is that you're selling to, in order for them to actually buy it and be happy with the purchase that they've gotten, and on top of all of that, they don't refund because they're actually achieving the results that was promised. Those are all of the things that is required way up front before you even start anything. And once again, that is called the target market. You've probably heard of this about a million times in all marketing books, any sort of marketing course that you've ever heard. So it is obvious that it's important. So we're going to talk about that right now. So like I said, the target market is going to be the person it is that you are selling to. But we are going to get very, very specific. And the reason for that is because unlike with one-on-one sales, when it comes to selling with sales funnels or online in general, you're not able to break down those barriers, and you're not able to create rapport, and you're not able to overcome any objections or obstacles the same exact way, because you're not able to just talk to somebody one-on-one. Instead, you have to sort of throw a pretty freaking wide net over everything it is that this person has going on in order to make sure that you are resonating with them in the proper way, and so they know that whatever it is that you're selling them is in actuality for them. So there are four things that you need to think about when you are defining your target market. The first thing is going to be the demographics. This is the main part that people think about and talk about when they're talking about target market. So this is going to be what is their gender, how old are they, where do they live, do they have any kids, what sort of job do they have, what's their income, all of the really, really basic things that you need to know. Yes, this is the basic part, but this does matter because you're not going to sell a 50-year-old man the same exact way that you would sell something to a 12-year-old little girl. So that is why this part is important. Next, you are going to want to identify their wants and desires. The reason why it is wants and desires is because we buy a lot of things that we want, not necessarily need. Yes, we do buy things that we need, but all of those markets are pretty much dominated. I mean, think about it. This is a brand this is a brand of soap. It's not going to focus because my camera's manually focused. But it's a brand called Soft Soap. This red cup that was filled with pre-workout, not alcohol, basically there's one brand of these. I'm sure there's more, but I'm hoping you understand the point that I'm trying to make. All of the needs, all of the commodities that they're called, they're all pretty much like taken over. So we can't sell to needs. Because everybody has already identified the top brand, and they've completely taken over those markets. But we can sell to wants because we buy tons of things that we want but do not necessarily need. That is why Amazon Alexa became a thing. That is why people buy courses online. It's stuff that we want. It's things that we want in our life. So it's your job to identify what do they want in their life. What sort of aspirations do they have? What sort of what goals do they have? That's just another way of saying aspiration. What sort of representation do they want for themselves in in relation to other people? Like, how do they want to be perceived by their neighbors? All of the things of that nature. What do they want in their life? That is what you're going to identify right here. Or just what sort of stuff do they want to buy? Like, why do a certain age range and a type of woman buy this particular sort of wine? It's because it makes them feel fancy. It does all these things of that nature. This is what you want to think about when you're thinking about wants and desires. Now, next we are going to go to pains. This is going to be the most powerful one because we tend to buy things that basically alleviate us from pain. I forget which, it might have been Freud, but which psychologist, philosopher, whatever, said it. But what it said was humans are always doing two things. They're trying to get themselves away from pain, and they're trying to chase pleasure. But there's one other point to that. The point is that we are significantly more pain averse. We hate pain versus us wanting pleasure. Obviously, there's some differences there. Some people are going to respond differently to certain things, but the point is that the majority of us do whatever we can. The majority of us do whatever we can to avoid pain at all costs, which means you have to understand exactly what it is that they are upset with in life, what it is that they don't want in life, who it is that they're trying to avoid. The way I like to put it, and the way I've heard it put multiple times, is what is it that keeps them up at night? I know for me, I'm not going to tell you exactly what it is that keeps me up at night, but there is one like stream of thought that that always pops up in my head when I am in bed. But I'm not a rapper. There's one stream of thought that always pops up in my head when I'm in bed that keeps like going over and over and over and over and over again because I want that pain point solved. So much so that I spent a lot of money getting that pain point solved. One of those streams of thoughts was just money and success in general. I wanted to be at a better place in life. I thought about that a lot, just lying in bed, trying to get to sleep, and that thought is constantly popping in my head. And I've spent tons of money on courses, tons of money on masterminds, marketing events, things of that nature. I've spent a ton of money just to move to New York just so I could get better at what it is that I'm doing and elevate where I'm at in business. So that should let you know that if you're running away from something that's painful, that person is going to spend a lot of money to get away from that pain. And you probably relate with the whole money part because you are in this course right now, so you know exactly how that feels. And lastly, you want to know what it is that they are interested in. The reason for that is because it makes your copy way more relatable. We're going to talk about copy and how to write good copy later on into this course. But just know that if you understand what it is that you're interested in, it lets them know that you understand them at a deeper level, and it makes them feel like that course truly is for them. The reason for that is because you're able to make certain references to certain things, whether it be like TV shows, movies, comic books, cities, different drinks, maybe a certain knife, maybe a certain story that would resonate with that particular audience. There are very, very, very specific things that you can hone in on that can increase sales for whatever it is that you're doing. I know for me, a certain example of this is that on a sales page, on an email that I wrote to one of my lists, I made an analogy trying to prove a point about how calisthenics is very effective, especially when you're doing weighted calisthenics. Now, the reference that I made was to Dragon Ball Z. There's basically, I'm sorry to get very, very nerdy on you, I know. But there's this scene in Dragon Ball Z where like they're doing workouts, they're doing like regular body weight workouts, but they have the gravity turned up to like 50 times the normal gravity. So it's hella weight, hella resistance. And then after they're done working out like that, they turn the gravity back to normal, and then they work out and they're much lighter, and their gains are very noticeable. And a lot of people purchased from that email that I sent. And I got a lot of responses of people just happy that I mentioned that. And the reason why I was so sure that that would work is because I knew that the audience that I was sending that to would resonate very deeply with that. I know that it's a bunch of kids, and I know that that a lot of them, chances are, watch cartoons, especially when it comes to fighting. And a point that I would like to make to that too, that's a little bit of a side tangent, is to make sure that whatever it is that you're selling is something that you are personally interested in. You can obviously go the extra mile and try to breach into a market that you don't know a lot about. It is possible. Dan Kennedy has done it. Russell Brunson has done it. And the dude who wrote Kick-Ass Copywriting Secrets, whose name I can never remember, did it as well. But the problem with that is that you have to spend a lot of time researching that market, figuring out that target market, and figuring out what it is that they're interested in, versus going into a market that you are already interested in, selling to people who are actually like you, who like the things that you like as well. So you can make references that the average person doesn't actually make. So, for example, I'm in the anime niche. The only reason why I'm able to sell to those people is because I personally watch the shows. Like, I am in that headspace. I know what it is that they're doing. I know what shows they're watching. I know what foods they eat. I know what video games they play. I know all of these things, and the reason for that is because I'm interested in the stuff too. So, just a side point that I wanted to make, because I feel like that is very beneficial. But that is the target market. In the next 4 videos, we're going to, take that back. Sorry, mistake. I'm going to leave all these mistakes in, by the way, because it's going to make life way easier. So what I meant to say was I am going to make a video on how to identify all of these things, how to do your target market research, so that you can find out as much as you can about the people, the person that you are selling to. Sorry about that, 1 second. Oh, showing you how to do your target market research so that you can know exactly who it is that you're selling to, and you can know what sort of language they use, what other TV shows that they watch, anything else that they may be interested in, where it is that they're frequenting. You're going to be able to figure out all of that stuff and more in the next videos to come. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.